Hello, it's Reggie here again, and welcome back to Brayworth Park. I've been thinking that I ought to do something with this area in front of the track. I wasn't sure what to do, whether just to make it a scenic area or try and put some buildings there, etc. But I was watching Everard Junction recently, and he had a area of baseboard in front of the track, and he quite rightly said it was a good place to watch the trains go by, so he just landscaped it as a field. I'm sure you probably saw it. So I was thinking, rather than hiding the track with structures or something, it would be better just as a scenic landscape area. I know it's a bit flat, but if I put some bushes and a fence, etc. there, and maybe probably going to do a roadway so that there is access to these relay boxes for network rail or whatever. So I think I'm going to start working on that. But before I do that, I have got a slight problem with this track here. When I fitted the double slip, as you can see there, the track here, this area, is a little bit too close. And if you've got two wagons, especially the container wagons, passing by, and if the wagons sort of just come slightly off the position on the container flat, then they can knock each other. As you can see, it's very, very close there. So I think I'm going to have to, before I start the landscaping, I'm going to have to take up this section of track here, bring it out a little bit, and reballast it, weather it, etc. And then to give the clearance there of those two tracks. So first thing I'm going to do is take up these tracks and remove the ballast. Shouldn't be too difficult, they're just held in with very small pins. So I shall get on with that and I'll come back to you in a bit. So I've took the two pieces of track up that were along this side, and I've removed the ballast that was underneath. If you're removing ballast, a good idea is to soak it with water first, and let that bed in a bit. It will soften the glue if you've used PVA glue and make it a little bit easier. And then all I used was a blunt chisel just to scrape it up. So I've put a little bit of extra cork down because the track will be coming over a little bit more like that. And what I shall do now is join the track up, make sure everything's okay. I've got a dropper wire is broken, so I've just got to resolder that, and then if it looks okay, we can start ballasting. So I'll be back to you soon. Okay, so I've re-ballasted this little section of track that I moved earlier, and it's just the usual PVA mixture, 50-50 water PVA, and it's been a couple of days and it's dried off okay. I've tested a couple of locos through it, so now I'll get the airbrush out and try and blend it in with the existing track, and then we can start some landscaping. Hello again. So I have now done some weathering on the track. I've blended it in as best I can. You obviously can see that it's a little bit different, but I'm sure when all the landscaping's on it will be okay. And I've put some, so I use sleeper grime, roof dirt, and then a bit more roof dirt in the centre to represent sort of diesel spillages and just dirtier effect on the centre of the tracks. So now I'm going to let that dry, clean the tracks, and then we'll be able to run some trains. I did start to paint this area here. I normally use the earth colours from Woodland Scenics, but I've ran out. Tried that, which is burnt sienna, but it's not really right. So I'm just going to get some brown poster paint from a local shop, the Works or somewhere, and then I'll paint all down here, and then I can start landscaping. So that will be in a day or two. So I'll be back when I'm doing that. Back again. So I was struggling to get any dark brown poster paint from the shop, didn't have any, but I got this tester pot from Wilkinson. I think it was a nutmeg, so it was near enough, so I just went with that. So I've just painted all this front area, and what I will do is I'm going to let that dry, then I'll put some PVA glue on it, and I'm going to use this dark earth as a base covering, and then on top of that I can start doing some static grassing, but I'm going to have to let this dry first. You could put it into the paint, but it is drying quite quickly, so I'm going to let it dry, and then I'm going to put PVA glue over it and then sprinkle the dark earth in, and we will then be able to static grass after that. Hello again. So the brown paint has now dried overnight, and I'm spreading some PVA glue onto the surface. I'm using neat PVA. You could use watered down 50-50 mix, and then I'm going to put some of the dark earth mix on. You can either sprinkle it on, or I use an old tea strainer just to sprinkle it over like this, giving it a good coverage. Don't worry if you don't get all of it, every single bit, because you're going to be putting static grass on or some sort of other covering on top, so just sprinkle it all around, and it gives a good base coverage for your static grass or your next layer of scatter material, whatever you're going to use. When the thicker, bigger lumps are there, so just tip them out. Because remember, this is just a base for the next layer of landscaping. I think this particular dark earth is one of the Javis ones I picked up at an exhibition sometime. I'm doing there between the tracks. Okay, so if we have a look at that, as you can see, it gives quite a good base, covers all the board up, and what I'll do is I'll carry on down the rest of there and cover it all. The base layer, I'm back now a day later, and the base layer has dried and gone off, so the dark earth looks quite good. The cork over there has lifted a little bit, so I may have to just push that down, although if it does lift a little bit, it gives an undulation, which isn't a bad thing. You don't want everything too flat. This layout is a bit flat, really, for my liking now. So we're going to do a little bit of static grassing. I'm just going to start in this area and work down. I'm sure you've seen the method. I should just put some PVA, watered down PVA over the area, put the static grass applicator over it, and see how it turns out. So here I've put some PVA glue on top of the scatter that's now dried. Had to leave it a few days for it to dry. So now I'll just show you, put some static grass on there. So this is spring green long, I think from Green Scenes. So just spread it all over. And that's a good first layer, and then we can carry on building up the landscape. Okay, so I've done the static grass all the way down the front of this bit of the board. I've also put a muddy track in there which will lead up to a gateway for railway workers. I've got some fencing on order that'll go down the length of the line side as well. So for now I'll leave this video here. I'll put a running session just on the end for a few minutes if you want to stick around and watch that. So it's December the 24th, so it just leaves me to say Merry Christmas to everybody. Thanks to everybody who's watched the videos this year, subscribed and commented, and I hope to bring you some more videos in the new year. So Merry Christmas and bye for now.